So look at my God, he brought me out the dark, picked up all the pieces when I fell apart, yeah. Look at my God, he gave me a new heart, no matter what I'm feeling, I know that I'm loved, yeah. I know that no one can love me like you do. No one can love me like you do.
In the season of waiting, it's testing my faith. In the season of waiting, you still remain. So I will trust in your voice and I will wait on your word. 'Cause I know that this will pass. What do you do when things don't go your way? How do you feel when life just gets in the way? Yeah. Does it sway you or dismay you? Do you feel so lost and confused? Yeah. Well, if you do, that's okay, 'cause I've been there too, and I know it brought me through it, yeah. And I promise you wanna bend it in the season of waiting, it's testing my faith. In the season of waiting, you still remain. So I will trust in your voice and I will wait on your word. 'Cause I know that this will pass.
I put my trust in you when I can't see, when I can't see. Not sight by faith, Lord, I believe, I believe. Time and time again, you've shown me blessings, blessings on blessings. So I'm gonna praise till I see my victory. Yeah, 'cause I know in every high, in every low, you will always hold me. In every season, I have known the best things come in your timing.
In the season of waiting, it's testing my faith.
Testing my faith.
In the season of waiting, you still remain. So I will trust in your voice and I will wait on your word. 'Cause I know that this will pass.
It will pass.
Oh my wow, so kind, it's freaking me out. Yeah, it's so kind, it's freaking me out. I'm in love, so kind, it's picking me up. Best of both worlds, the best of both far and away. So kind, it's freaking me out. Yeah, it's so kind, you're everything I need. You're so kind, it's picking me up. So, so kind. First time for everything. First time I ever felt this confident. No foreign chemicals, some serotonin, happy, fresh breeze, bare feet, energy. Can't believe I get the opportunity to feel this colorful. You're so much more than I could see. Dream, yeah, one glimpse takes me out of my seat. Come on, you're crazy. How do you give that much? Oh my wow, so kind, it's freaking me out. Yeah, it's so kind, it's freaking me out. I'm in love, so kind, it's picking me up. Best of both worlds, the best of both falling away. So kind, it's freaking me out. Yeah, it's so kind, you're everything I need. You're so kind, it's picking me up. So, so kind. Early when I'm waking up, the start of the day. First thing I remember is it isn't the same. But what happened in the past in my memory bank? It's a complex life in a limited space. From rise stand before your maker, full of wonder, full of fear. Come behold his power and glory, yet with confidence draw near. For the one who holds the heavens and commands the stars above is the God who bends to bless us with an unrelenting love. Rejoice, come and lift your hands and raise your voice. He is worthy of all praise. Rejoice, sing the mercies of your King, and with trembling rejoice. We are children of the promise, the beloved of the Lord, one with everlasting kindness, bought with sacrificial blood, bringing reconciliation to a world that longs to know the affections of a Father who will never let them go. Rejoice, come and lift your hands and raise your voice. He is worthy of all praise. Rejoice, sing the mercies of your King, and with trembling rejoice. All our sickness, all our sorrows, Jesus carried up the hill. He has walked this path before us. He is walking with us still, turning tragedy to triumph, turning agony to praise. There is blessing in the battle, so take heart and stand amazed. Rejoice, when you cry to him, he hears your voice. He will wipe away your tears. Rejoice, in the midst of suffering, he will help you sing. Rejoice, come and lift your hands and raise your voice.
the morning, we will thank you. In the mundane, we will listen. In the evening, we will praise you. We're not gonna worry, we're gonna choose him. Morning, we will thank you. In the mundane, we will listen. In the evening, we will praise you. We're not gonna worry, we're gonna choose him. Brothers and sisters, take time to stop. His peace is working and guarding every heart and mind. Trading all your fear, don't lean on what you feel. Let it rise. Think on what is true and think on what is pure. Take it all in. In the morning, we will thank you. In the mundane, we will listen. In the evening, we will praise you. We're not gonna worry, we're gonna choose him. Morning, we will thank you. In the mundane, we will listen. In the evening, we will praise you. We're not gonna worry, we're gonna choose him. I'm not gonna worry, not gonna worry. I'm not gonna worry, not gonna worry. Morning, we will thank you. In the mundane, we will listen. In the evening, we will praise you. I'm not gonna worry, we're gonna choose him. Morning, we will thank you. In the mundane, we will listen. In the evening, we will praise you. I'm not gonna worry, we're gonna choose him.
I may be young, but there's a light in my head. How every year seems like a book that begins. Well, there's a truth in every chapter that ends. I didn't write it, but I know who did. Wanna feel what I do isn't working. Somehow, someway you show it. How you work, how you move through the open. What I do to deserve this. I feel you moving through these chains that keep on breaking. Giving water to the roots and then arranging. Changing ocean tides and sunset skies and blurry eyes to make you known through all mankind. You magnified. I've had my moments of uncertainty. How my actions came so recklessly. How I said these words so harmlessly, causing so much weight internally. Wanna feel what I do isn't working. Somehow, someway you show it. How you work, how you move through the open. What I do to deserve this. I feel you moving through these chains that keep on breaking. Giving water to the roots and then arranging. Changing ocean tides and sunset skies and blurry eyes to make you known through all mankind. You magnified. I feel you moving through these chains that keep on breaking. Giving water to the roots and then arranging. Changing ocean tides and sunset skies and blurry eyes to make you known through all mankind. You magnified. Oh God, I know you hear me. Well, thanks for everything you gave me. And I know I'm only 18. You built this faith that made me Wanna feel what I do isn't working. Somehow, someway you show it. How you work, how you moving through the open. What I do to deserve this. Wanna feel what I do isn't working. Somehow, someway you show it. How you work, how you moving through the open. What I do to deserve this. I feel you moving through these chains that keep on breaking. Giving water to the roots and then arranging. Changing ocean tides and sunset skies and blurry eyes to make you known through all mankind. You magnify. I feel you moving through these chains that keep on breaking. Giving water to the roots and then arranging. Changing ocean tides and sunset skies and blurry eyes to make you known through all mankind. You magnify.
You are my one desire. Lord, won't you set me on fire? 'Cause you are alive and moving. Oh, I'm bringing it all. Oh, I'm giving my heart to you now. You set me on fire. Lord, you set it on fire. Yeah. All I want and all I need is everything you got for me, and I'm not taking you for granted. It's all working out how you planned it. Oh, I'm bringing it all. Oh, I'm giving my heart to you now. You set me on fire. My love and my devotion, my heart and all of this. Giving it all to you now. My heart set blazes for you. I see your spirit moving. I'm in awe of your beauty. I'm giving it all to you now. My heart set blazes for you. Set blazes for you. I'm giving my all. Set blazes for you. I'm bringing it all. Oh, I'm giving my heart to you now. You set me on fire. You set me on fire. My heart set blazes for you. My love and my devotion. My heart and all of this. Giving it all to you now. My heart set blazes for you. I see your spirit moving. I'm in awe of all you do. I'm giving it all to you now. My heart set blazes for you. Where could I find you? Took a path of endless blinding. Lord, I've been lied to. So wash me in your fire. Fire. You could take all I got. I don't mind, long as your will is done. Leap of faith is all I got. I'm dying, trying, long as it's for the sun. You don't wanna weather storms, so no weapon shall ever form against me. By the faith and up outside, I confide in the light of my Prince of Peace. give all of my life surrender, so just watch me in your fire. Show me the way to all your fire. Been a while since I've called your name. Oh God, please take me higher. Take me to your higher place.
Yeah, sorry, 6 seconds. All right, we'll talk. Good morning, Foundry. We are so happy to be with you this morning. Would you stand with us as we take this time, just focus and direct our hearts? My prayer for us this morning is that we will worship in spirit and truth, that the words that are coming out of our mouth would be matched by a posture in our hearts and a posture towards our neighbors, this city, that these things would be true about us this morning.
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Here's my heart, Lord, take and seal it for thy courts above. Here's my heart, Lord, take and seal it for thy courts above.
Do you feel the world is broken? We do. Do you feel the shadows deepen? We do. But do you know that all the dark won't stop the light from getting through? We do. Do you wish that you could see it all made new? We do. Is all creation groaning? It is. Is a new creation coming? It is. Is the glory of the Lord to be the light within our midst? It is. Is it good that we remind ourselves of this? It is. Is anyone worthy? Is anyone whole? Is anyone able to break the seal and open the scroll? The Lion of Judah, who conquered the grave. He is David's root and the Lamb who died to ransom the slave. Is he worthy? Is he worthy of all blessing and honor and glory? Is he worthy of this? Yes. Does the Father truly love us? He does. Does the Spirit move among us? He does. And is Jesus our Messiah hold forever those he loves? He does. Does our God intend to dwell again with us? He does. Is anyone worthy? Is anyone whole? Is anyone able to break the seal and open the scroll? The Lion of Judah, who conquered the grave. He is David's root and the Lamb who died to ransom the slave. From every people and tribe, every nation and tongue, he has made us a kingdom and priests to God to reign with the Son. Is he worthy? Is he worthy of all blessing and honor and glory? Is he worthy? Is he worthy? Is he worthy of this? Here
a seat.
Good morning. Oh, I like this. For those of you I don't know, my name is Susanna, and wanted to welcome you this morning. It's becoming a beautiful day in the neighborhood, which I'm super excited about. If you're not familiar with Foundry, we have a Connect page on our website, so you have the opportunity to find out a little more, find out about the different offerings, what we believe, sign up for updates that can come through your email that are incredibly informative. Also highlights opportunities for giving, which is, we don't pass an offering plate here, but you have the chance to either give in person, online, or you can use the app. Wanted to take a minute. This is the last week, if you've been with us, this is the last week we are leaving our survey for Foundry Forward Open. So the QR code's gonna come up, and if you wanna take a minute, if you have not yet filled it out, this is your chance. We also have two little decals. So I will say during the first service, my toddler chose this one because that's why it has little dog ears on it. That was his preference, but there are two different options. Take a second. I will say the biggest thing here is we want to know, I love the name, because what is your thinking for going forward? There's a chance to kind of speak to, yeah, the lobby's small, those types of any challenges you see, but I think the biggest, most impactful piece that we want to get from you as you take a couple minutes over today, I will say that again, today, to really think about what could it look like. Just put your thinking caps on. What is that next step? What is that vision? What would be really cool to see in the space? So today, grab a sticker as your reminder, grab the QR code from the screen, and with that, we're gonna turn it over to Kate for scripture.
Good morning. Our scripture reading today is from Luke 20:45 through 21, verse 4. While all the people were listening, Jesus said to his disciples, "Beware of the teachers of the law. They like to walk around in flowing robes and love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and have the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets. They devour widows' houses and for a show make lengthy prayers. These men will be punished most severely." As Jesus looked up, he saw the rich putting their gifts into the temple treasury. He also saw a poor widow put in 2 very small copper coins. "Truly, I tell you," he said, "this poor widow has put in more than all the others. All these people gave their gifts out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in all she had to live on."
Well, good morning. My name's Andy, if we have not met. And we've been coming to the Foundry for a little bit more than a year at this point, and really love being a part of this congregation. As we go through this series, The Long Road to Hope, I was very inspired just by the title. I think it's a fantastic title, and it made me just think about how the long road to hope is littered with difficult challenges for those who wish to live into the kingdom of heaven. Each challenge offering new perspectives. And today, the new perspective that I hope we'll find together is hope in the act of sacrificial giving. This is something that Jesus models on the cross for us. And it's something that he brings and ushers in with the kingdom of heaven. I believe, like many do, that Jesus meant what he said when he said that the kingdom is near. He said that over and over again while he was preaching. And I believe that Jesus is seated on the throne in heaven, meaning that the kingdom is coming, that the kingdom is here in different ways we get to experience it. And so today we're going to speak from that sort of lens. And this kingdom that Jesus ushers in is one where a humble, weak, poor, voteless, powerless woman who has no perceived power or influence is the person. She becomes the model to which we look for guidance on how to act with our riches, with the things that we have. Forbes and Harrower, two authors that I read on this, they say the widow acts as a model of discipleship with respect to wealth and possessions. If you are following Jesus, we have lots of different options in how far you will follow him. But today, he's asking us to go pretty far, so buckle up. What is it that this woman models for us? What is it that we can learn from her? Today, I want to point to one simple thing: peace. I believe that in the act of sacrificial giving, we can experience peace. Now, peace is something that is often just spoken about in very simplistic ways. Peace is the opposite of war, but peace is so much more than that. Peace is not just the absence of something, it's the presence of something. Peace for many is when you just get away from all of the troubles and problems in life and you go on vacation, right? Sometimes that feels peaceful. Sometimes it's being comfortable somewhere, right? Maybe it's your sweatpants sitting on the couch at night. For others, it's safety. Being somewhere where you're safe, experiencing safety is peaceful. For others, it's confidence, having the confidence to do what it is that you're involved in. Or maybe it's hope. Having hope for the future can give us peace. But one thing, peace is hard to experience while we are in a posture of clenched fists ready to fight. It's hard to tell someone that we're working towards peace or that we want to experience peace or that we're peaceful when we're standing like this, isn't it? It's not very convincing, right? You're not going to convince someone that peace is what you're feeling or what you're after if that's your posture. Instead, this looks like I'm walled off from the world, that I'm ready to fight my neighbor, right? That I'm maybe waiting for the next shoe to drop because it's coming and I'm going to be ready for it, right? But that's not the posture that Jesus wants us to live in. Today, as we walk through this story, we're going to use Jeremy Kubasek. He's an author, his Peace Index. It'll be up here on the screen for you. He has 5 different categories we're going to go through and involve it in this story of the widow's mite. And as we go through it, I want you to rank yourself how you perceive your peace in each of these 5 areas. Okay, we're going to talk about our purpose, provision, the people around us, the place, and our personal health. So rank yourself from 1 to 20 in each of those, 20 being great, 1 being not so great. And we'll add those up, and 20 times 5 is 100, so you'll have a percentage there of how peaceful you feel today. And our hope is that as we walk through and as you go forward out of here, that your peace will increase. So, let's get started. Are you at peace with your purpose? I like this painting by a man named Paul Oman of the widow's mite. This painting is really powerful to me. It's hard to see because of the light, but in about center at the top, over to the left, you see a head, and just to the left of that head, there's a beam of light coming down. Anytime you see light in old paintings, it's pointing to where God is in the story, right? So that's Jesus in the top back center, and then the light comes down and touches the widow in the front. And we're meant to be drawn to those two things and to notice that those are the positions of the people, that Jesus is in the background and he's pushing forward this poor, powerless widow to be at the foreground for us to notice. That's very important. Every historic painting that I could find has the widow's head hung low. She's averting her gaze, avoiding eye contact, and seemingly just slipping through the crowd. In some of the paintings, you can only see her back, or you can just see part of her arm and the side of her face as she's putting her last dollar into the offering. But she's never seemingly like what everyone is looking for. She's not the center of attention, except for in this painting, she seems to be a little bit more the attention, and that's why I like this one. But I think those other paintings also point to the fact that there are those who will judge those people, and there are others who in the painting are ignoring this woman. Those toward the back are maybe those ignoring. The person in the front, the man to the right in the painting, seems to be very interested in what she's doing, very judgy from what I'm perceiving in the painting, right? But Jesus says to beware of the scribes because they have been using their legal know-how to rob from the poor, to take from the widows, to take their land and their stuff. And Jesus says, beware of them, but pay attention to her. And that's what I want us to do today. So are you at peace with your purpose? Part of my job as a mental health therapist is to help people uncover their values. Now, sometimes people come into my office and I ask them, what are your values? We give them a piece of paper sometimes. Here's 50 values, circle 10. They'll circle 10, right? And they might say, the 10 things they think they value. And then as I ask questions like, tell me a story about valuing that. Sometimes what happens often is that it turns out the things they circled at first are what they want their values to be and not what they actually are valuing with the ways they're spending their money and their time and their energy, right? And if we can discover that and be more intentional about that, we will know what our purpose is and we'll live into that purpose. Well, Jesus was someone who was very purposeful and knew what he was doing. And I believe that part of Jesus' purpose is to draw us in and help us be more curious people. Curious people. It's such a better way to live, to be interested and intrigued by people and drawn into relationship with them instead of in a posture ready to fight everybody who comes our way. And I think that's part of what Jesus is encouraging us here. So what is your purpose? Are you at peace with it? Number 2, at peace with my provisions. Think about Maslow's hierarchy, right? Do you have food to fill your tummy? Do you have shelter to keep you safe? Do you have clothing that protects you from the elements? If you just had those things, would you be satisfied? That's a hard one. I would wrestle with that. I have been wrestling with that. We should all wrestle with that. If you are a follower of Jesus and you take seriously his words, later we'll read them, to give away all of your things, right? Then we have to ask, are we satisfied with that which we have? Or are we constantly pursuing more, bigger, better, faster, brighter, shinier, higher on the org chart, right? Are we constantly wanting more and more and more? And as we do that, gathering more, holding more tightly in our fists, right? That's not the posture Jesus is calling us to. Just because we lack things in this world, possessions, does not mean that we lack in the kingdom, though. And perhaps the best story of that I can tell is of a friend of mine named Drew. 10 years ago, my wife and I and our kids, we moved to downtown Silver Spring, right outside of Washington, D.C., and we were part of starting a church there and working at this small little church, and I would walk around the city streets and meet people. And I met Drew. Drew was a man experiencing homelessness. He's been recently housed in the last year and a half, but he's an interesting character. I wish I could have brought him here with me so you guys could meet him. But Drew, one of the first times that he came to our home, I remember him getting off the bus and going up the hill to meet with Drew, and Drew and I walking down the hill. And as we walked down the hill, there were people walking into my home for Bible study. And as they were walking in, they were carrying pots and pans and stuff full of food. And Drew grabbed me by the arm and he stopped me and he said, what are they all doing? I said, well, they're bringing potluck, right? This is a church gathering, right? People bringing food, right? We're all going to eat together. And he looked at me and he said, why didn't you tell me to bring something? At first, I didn't have an answer, and then I started just putting my foot in my mouth, right? Like, well, you're homeless. I didn't think you had, I didn't want you to give your last dollar to buy something. You don't have a kitchen to cook in. I don't know. And he stopped me before I said anything else stupid, right? And he said, get in the truck, let's go. So I put him in my truck, and he and I drove up to Whole Foods. Well, it turns out Drew, I would find out later, knows everyone in Silver Spring. He's the life of the party. Drew took me around back at the Whole Foods there in downtown Silver Spring, and sure enough, we knocked on the door, and this guy came out. Every night, what they do at Whole Foods is they throw away their fresh food, including giant boxes of freshly made bacon and giant bags of freshly made cookies. So that's what Drew brought the first time he came to my house. And you can imagine who was the most popular guy at the dinner, right? But I learned an important lesson there, right? That he was at peace with his provisions. He was at peace with what he had, even though it may have been little. And I had something to learn there. Are we at peace with our place? That's the second one. Close your eyes for a minute if you're comfortable with that. I want you to imagine the place where you live. I want you to imagine your street. Just get a picture of it in your eyes. I want you to think about maybe your neighborhood, or maybe a picture of this city. When you think about Baltimore, what do you picture? How about a picture of your workplace? What does that look like? And then I want to ask you, do you love those places? Or do you constantly complain about the crime, the trash, your coworkers, your neighbors, the rats, the water leaks? Which perspective do you have? Are you at peace with the place where you are and the places where you live in rhythm? Or are you constantly wanting more? Are you constantly desiring something different? One of the things I do at the clinic that I work in a clinic downtown, and we work with clients who are experiencing substance use disorder, so they have struggled with or are currently struggling with some sort of addiction. They're also struggling with homelessness, and they're struggling with another major mental health diagnosis, so everything from schizophrenia to bipolar, the whole list, all of the things. And in working with these clients, it becomes very obvious that being homeless is incredibly dangerous. It's a very perilous thing, and it's very difficult to be homeless. It's not just not having a house. There are lots of other dangers that go with it. My clients are experiencing human trafficking, sex trafficking. They're experiencing drug use, selling drugs. They've just gotten out of prison. Some of them have committed crimes, murders, things like this, and they have the most tumultuous life you could possibly imagine, and then multiply that by 10. And we sit with those people and we say, let's find something good. Now imagine, that's your life. Everything is wrong, right? You've heard the expression, the wheels are falling off the bus. Well, the wheels have fallen off the bus and the bus is on fire. There's nothing left of the bus, right? And still, these clients with enough work are able to find something that's an exception. Two of the things that I'm most struck by that they often will point to, one, they point to the fact that there is simplicity in experiencing, in having little, right? Because of their poverty, because they don't have anything, they are sometimes able to look and say, well, at least I don't have to worry about a mortgage, fixing my car, things like that. Okay, they're able to find something good there. Others, I often see there's a homeless shelter across the street that the place I work for also runs, and I go over there and run a therapy group once a week, and it's remarkable to see this therapy group, people who are fighting in the lobby, come upstairs to this therapy group, and by the end of the hour, they're actually like caring for one another and listening to each other. It's remarkable. They're able to find community as an exception in the midst of all the chaos in their life. Are you able to do that? Are you able to find peace in the place? I argue that if someone's able to find peace in a homeless shelter in Baltimore, then we can find peace in our homes in Fed Hill, right? So it takes some work, though. It takes some time and some energy. Here's the way you can test if you're at peace with your place. Think about your place, your home, your neighborhood, whatever. How would you sell that to a prospective buyer? What would you say? Next, are you at peace with your personal health? When you look in the mirror, step on the scale, are you at peace? Now, I don't see anyone shaking their heads, which means we're all good. No, all of us are not at peace with our personal health. We rarely are. And if we are, it's just for a season. But what I would argue and what I think we should work towards is finding peace along the way. Every client I work with struggles with nicotine addiction. They're smoking cigarettes all day long. And it's remarkable to me. I love watching those clients who are smoking 2 packs a day and after weeks of therapy have kicked it down 1 cigarette. So instead of smoking 2 packs, they're smoking 2 packs minus 1 cigarette. And they come into my office so excited because they've made progress, right? And they're able to be at peace with that progress along the way. It's not about the end point. It's about the the journey along the way. It's about that long road toward hope. Well, oftentimes we want it both, though, right? We want the freedom to eat the jug of ice cream and the control to make sure it doesn't turn into fat, right? We want both of these things. But in not being able to have both, it leads us to a lot of anxiety, right? And anxiety is something that all of my clients have, and it's something that's very difficult to overcome if you're not ready for it or not willing to. And it's amazing to see how people can overcome it. One of the things that an article, a study that I read recently said was really funny to me, and it was that ChatGPT has actually developed anxiety, severely crippling anxiety. There's this study out of the University of Zurich and several other universities across the country or across the world got together and studied ChatGPT, and they piled all these problems on it. And this artificial intelligence had so many problems that it didn't know what to do with it, and the stress increased to such a level it was affecting its productivity. That's crazy. And they thought, how are we going to fix this? So one of the ways that the study fixed it is that they brought in mental health therapists and they utilized mindfulness relaxation techniques, and it worked. So you should all go get therapy if you have anxiety. But if you don't have anxiety, don't worry about it. Anxiety is a very serious thing, and it does impact our personal health, and it can rob you of your peace. And so I pray that you're seeking help with that in some way. Are you at peace with your people? There are people in our society that we would rather overlook, that we would rather not think about, that we would rather push to the sides and hide under bridges. Those are the people that I work with. My clinic is situated almost at the end of I-83 if you're headed south. On the left, first you'll see the city jail, and next to the city jail is my building, and then next to my building is a strip club, and then across the street from the strip club is the homeless shelter. What do all those places have in common? Those are the people we don't want to see. Those are the people we stick under the bridge in a neighborhood that's not a neighborhood that you're never going to go to. You probably have never seen it. You've driven by on 83 like I did for decades. I grew up here. I've been driving by and never knew that was there. And it's all there in one place for a reason, because we don't want to see it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to pass by it. We don't want to interact with those people. It's so much easier to just ignore those people. And Jesus says, look, have eyes to see what's going on with these people, because they have something to teach you. They have something to offer. Are we at peace with our people? One of my favorite stories about people kind of coming out of their shell and creating community is a man named Sanchez. Sanchez was a part of the church that my family and I moved to Baltimore to start. And Sanchez was a man who'd been experiencing homelessness for a long time. When he first came to our church, he had been blacklisted, literally, from all the other churches in the area, from the soup kitchens, from all of the different places he had been blacklisted because of some of his behavioral issues. And when he first came to our church, the first night, there was issues, but the people in our church just wouldn't give up on this man. They just kept inviting him back. They kept talking to him. They kept sitting by him, even though he was really struggling with a lot of different things. But over the years, Sanchez's walls began to come down, and he began to interact with us and become a part of our family. And when I brought him up last night, my two teenage boys, remembering him fondly, they said, you remember he was the one we always talked to about the Ravens on Sunday, and he was the one that would come to our house and play basketball with us before a small group. He had become a person. He had become part of a community, and he meant something. But someone had to see him, because before that, he was not seen. And maybe his behaviors were a myriad of different reasons why he could have been doing those behaviors, but the behaviors stopped. He's no longer doing those as a part of our church or in the community. And I think that's because someone saw him and he became at peace with being a part of a community. I think that Jesus gives us these kingdom eyes so that we can see that all people are our people. Let me say that again. All people, Christians, are our people. And if we have eyes to see those people and to notice them, then we have something to learn from them. In this painting, We look past or through this woman because she has nothing to offer us. Or maybe it's because we're ashamed that our society here in America, the wealthiest nation on the planet in all of history, has 20%, some say, of our population living in poverty. How is that possible? Maybe we're ashamed of that, and so we just want to hide these people under the bridge. We don't want to look at this woman. And Jesus says, open your eyes. Look. See her. And if we can begin to look and see, we will have the eyes that Jesus has, and we'll begin to live life differently. Richard Rohr was perhaps the author and priest who helped me through a difficult season that I went through a couple years ago, last year. And he has this to say. He said, relationships are our most powerful and reliable 401ks. Relationships, right? The stock market can crash. Everything can go to hell. But we have people if we are investing in people, if we care about people, right? Jesus had none of that. He had no retirement plan. He had no house. He had no stuff. And we're called to be like him. And if we're going to live like him, it will require some sacrifice and living a different type of world. So are you at peace with your partner, with your kids, with your family, with your neighbors? Are you at peace with your people? 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 9, the Apostle Paul says this about Jesus. Though he was rich, yet for your sake he became poor, so that you, through his poverty, might become rich. Jesus could have had it all. He created it all. But he gave all that up and became poor. For what reason? I think a lot of it was so that we would notice it. And if we're going to be like him, maybe we would at least want to know some people who are experiencing poverty, or maybe pay attention to them, or get to know them, or learn their names, right? Because that's what Jesus did. But it's challenging. That's difficult, isn't it? And it led Jesus to a very difficult life. He suffered a lot during his life and, of course, in his death. And it will cost us if we're going to be sacrificial with our giving. We'll lose things like the widow did in the painting. She loss of security and safety. The book of Mark tells the same story, and Mark says it this way. She put in everything, all she had to live on. Mark sees it, and Jesus says the words that this is it. This is her last-ditch effort. It's all she had. She put all of it in right here, right now. Nothing left to keep her safe. Nothing left to make a living out of. She now has nothing. But she's willing to give it. It leads to a loss of safety and security, a loss of status. She probably lost any title or any status that she may have had. Now she's going to be someone on the streets begging, someone panhandling, as we call it here in Baltimore, someone who's asking other people to help them. That's a loss of status in the community and a risk of harm. But one thing that all the commentaries I was reading had this kind of sense about them, and I put it to these words. I don't think that Jesus wants us to pity this woman. And I don't think Jesus wants us to rescue this woman. I think Jesus is saying, look at her. She has something and knows she has something to offer. She brings something to the table. She knows it, but we don't. Pay attention, listen, watch, learn something from this woman. Let her do that which she wants to do and lean into a relationship. And you know that, of course, I'm not saying don't help the poor. When you lean in like that, you will become friends with those people. We've helped Drew in lots of different ways in Sanchez because they're part of my family. They're part of my life now. And the same will be true with you. So lean into relationship. What would that look like? To live that way, to live the way Jesus says in Luke chapter 12, verse 32, Jesus says, "Do not be afraid, little flock, disciples, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. So sell your possessions and give to the poor." Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will not be exhausted, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Jesus says some crazy stuff. Sell your stuff and give to the poor. That's radical. That's crazy. But that's what Jesus says. And I don't want to sugarcoat it for you. I don't want to lessen it at all. We're just going to leave it there and let us all marinate and think about what Jesus is actually calling you to do with that. So give that some thought. I find it remarkable that, I know I keep saying that, I'm doing a lot of remarking today. I find it remarkable that our Catholic brothers and sisters, some of them will take what's called a vow of poverty. And I was reading about the vow of poverty on the Catholic website, and they said this about it. The vow of poverty is a radical call to freedom. Wow. Unrestricted by the accumulation of wealth and material possessions, those who take the vow of poverty are called, those who take the vow of poverty are able to focus on relationships and service. The vow of poverty does not mean that this person is called to live in destitution, but that their service goes beyond a condescending charity where we reach down and give stuff to people who we think are lower than us, but instead stretching out our lives in solidarity with those people. Instead becoming one with them, becoming relational with them, and caring about them in a different way. I believe when we do this kind of sacrificial giving that we will receive kingdom gifts for it. Here's some of the kingdom gifts. The freedom to hope. Whew. When you have nothing, hope is everything. Kingdom eyes to see and ears to hear, a new perspective. Like I said, part of the clients that I work with are suffering from some sort of alcohol or drug addiction. And I have to say, these people are the most remarkable human beings. You have so much to learn from them, and I do too. I am constantly impressed when I walk into an NA or an AA meeting with the brutal honesty that they have with themselves. Wow, if we could all be so honest with ourselves. I see it that way because I think I'm beginning to have kingdom eyes. I'm beginning to see like Jesus sees. And instead of walking into a room and casting out those people, instead leaning in curiosity, because I want to learn from them. I want to see what it is that we can learn from each other. To arrive in the kingdom of heaven is to have the eyes of Jesus, to see the unseen. And lastly, I think the last gift is the boldness to act. When you have nothing to lose, you're more bold to act. Think about that. So where do we find our peace? Because for the widow, we'll put that painting back up there, that for this widow, it wasn't in her possessions. She didn't find peace in her possessions because she gave the very last of her possessions. She gave it up. She wasn't putting her hope and trust and peace in that. She was looking for it from somewhere else. And where is she? She's at the church, right? She's at the synagogue. She's there with hoping for the presence of God to be the answer. Will you be part of that answer in community? Will we learn to love our neighbors? Will we learn to contribute to something that means something to us, a cause, a community we find worthwhile? When we do, I believe that's when Jesus unveils to us what he means when he says, I have come that they might have life and have life to the full. We are missing out. We're missing out when we're sitting at home in our mansions and our houses with all our stuff, accumulating more, going to the store, paying so much money to Amazon, all this stuff. We're missing out on the full life. And Jesus says, look at this woman. See her. Learn something. Do life with these people. In closing, do your values align with kingdom values? Can you find the exceptions in your challenging life? We all have challenges in our life. Can you find the exceptions, the good stuff in the midst of it? And then find that peace. Can you see the kingdom coming? Can you taste it? Can you smell it? Is it near to you? Because we can experience the kingdom in that way. I believe that the kingdom of heaven on earth is a peace that is found, and that although we may have just a little to give, Jesus is able to take that little and make it kingdom exponentials. He's able to multiply it in incredible ways, and he will give us eyes to see and ears to hear the kingdom if we're just willing to look. Let's pray. God, we thank you for your word, for the incredible stories that you gift us with like this, that we might be able to better understand what the kingdom is like, that we might lean in with curiosity into people who maybe we think of as other, people who maybe we're afraid of, or people who are different from us. God, help us to lean into those people, to get to know them, to hear their stories, to find ways that we can serve them and that they can serve us, God. May we live in mutuality where we give and take to one another, living open-handedly, not with clenched fists, held back, ready to fight, but instead with open hands, leaning in curiosity. Make it so. In Jesus' name, amen.
I love make it so. I think every time I sit and listen to a message or sing a song and the words go down into my heart, I'm always like begging God, make this true. Make this true. We're going to move to a time of communion, and we're going to behold in our hands a picture of how far God was willing to go to make it true of us, to free us from the things that entangle us and weigh us down and make us worry and panic and hoard and isolate. And he wants to free us from those things. So if you're feeling scared or ashamed or overwhelmed by kind of the radical call that is in this story, you're in good company, because so am I. We all are. There's one who has done this work perfectly for us, and he has given us the power to know the fellowship of his sufferings and to walk in that with him. There are 4 stations in our room. They're all gluten-free if that's something that you're concerned about. And as we move about the room and hold this picture, just take it back to your seat. Think about it. Take the bread and the cup and just meditate on there is one who has gone so far. He hasn't held anything back. He even gave up his life to free us from the things that weigh us down. So I want to invite you to do that now. Worship with us. In the crashing, in the pressing, you were making new wine. In the soil now surrender, you are breaking new ground.
So make me your vessel. Make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. God, I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. In the crashing, in the pressing, you are making new wine. In the soil I now surrender, you are breaking new ground. You are breaking new ground. So I yield to you and to your careful hand. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. So make me your vessel. Make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. God, I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. 'Cause where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom, and the kingdom is here. I lay down my old flames to carry your new fire today. 'Cause where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom, and the kingdom is here. I lay down my old flames to carry your new fire today. So make me your vessel. Make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. God, I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. So teach my song to rise to you when temptation comes my way. When I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. When I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need
me to still the rage in me, to still every wave at your name. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Breathe, call these bones to live, call these lungs to sing once again. I will praise Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is alive, forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is alive, forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Amen. You can have a seat.
Thanks again for being with us today. Before you go, quick reminder that Feed More, Be More is coming up on May 18th at Francis Scott Key Elementary Middle. We'll gather there to pack over 10,000 meals to be donated to a local food pantry in Curtis Bay, just over the Hanover Street Bridge. It's a great event for families. Kids as young as 3 can participate, and it's a great event to invite your friends and your neighbors to as well. You can sign up on the Connect page, or you can sign up through the QR code on the screen. As we close, we echo the words of Paul from Ephesians 1:18 as our prayer. I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people, and his incomparably great power for us who believe. That power is the same as the mighty strength he exerted when he raised Christ from the dead and seated him at his right hand in the heavenly realms, far above all rule and authority, power and dominion, and every name that is invoked, not only in the present age, but also in the one to come. Amen.